Alliteration is a stylistic literary device where two or more words in a phrase or in a line of poetry share same beginning consonant sound. In other words, alliteration is alliteration occurs where a number of words having the same first consonant sound occur close together in a series. Means a number of words in a series where same consonant sound occurs in the beginning of two or more words, we call them alliterative lines. Alliteration is found in many common phrases and is a common poetic device in almost all languages in all literatures. In its simple form, alliteration is a repetition of consonantal sounds in the beginning of two or more words. For example, in William Shakespeare's poem, we find a very simple example of alliteration where he says, "When I do count the clock that tells the time." In this line by William Shakespeare in a poem, he uses alliteration in the beginning of two or more words. As the two words count and cloak have the same sound, similarly, tells and time have the same consonant sound. So we call this line to be an alliterative line. Let us understand again the example of alliteration taken from William Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet, where in some of the speech the speaker says, "From forth the fatal loins of these two foes." Here the repetition of F sound occurs many times. From, forth, fatal, foes. So this line is an alliterative line. This repetition of sounds brings attention to the particular lines where it is used, and ultimately this repetition of sound creates a rhythm, which is the basic content of speech, basic content of poetry. Let us understand further alliteration with some examples taken from English literature. In a poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, the poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge writes, "The fair breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrow followed free. We were the first that ever burst into that silent sea." In these lines by S.T. Coleridge, we may very well notice the use of alliteration, especially there is a repetition of the sounds B, F and S in the phrases like breeze blew, foam flew, furrow followed, and lastly, silent sea. Let's read another example, which is taken from a poem Ode to a Nightingale, composed by John Keats. Perhaps the self same song that found a path through the sad heart of Ruth, when sick for home, she stood in tears amid the alien corn, the same that oft times hath charmed magic casements opening on the foam of perilous seas in fairy lands forlorn. So here we have the repetition of the S sound and F sound, which is noticeable and catches attention and helps the poet to create a certain environment a certain atmosphere through sound structure. Alliteration is very alliteration, which is studied as a prosody, the structure of sound in literature, is of course the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of words, or it is also sometimes said that alliteration occurs also when it is used in some stressed syllables. That repetition of some sounds in stressed syllables as well as in the beginning of words is known as the use of alliterations. Because sometimes the repetition of the initial sound, the vowel sound, is also referred as alliteration. The repetition sound must occur either in the first letter of each word or in the stress syllable of those words. So this is the standard formula of understanding alliteration. Here, conclusively, what we learn about alliteration is that alliteration is the repetition of sounds, not just letters, and alliterative words don't have to be right next to each other. Other words can also appear between them. Now, it is important to understand what is the function, what function alliteration plays in speeches and in literature. Alliteration has been used as a literary device in the English language for many hundreds of years, and it is prevalent even in the ancient works like Beowulf, which was composed somewhere in the 8th century old English poem, which is, and there are references and examples of alliteration in such an old literature. Alliteration is very common in poems, though it can be found also in prose and in drama as well. Alliteration is often used in the real world in things like nursery rhymes, the poems which are written for children, for kids. The use of alliteration is very common. Even alliteration is used in famous speeches, and there is a very frequent and reoccurring examples of alliteration we may observe in advertising slogans and in the names of some famous people or some fictional characters in novels, stories, or even in the modern day movies. On the part of the writer, it is important to understand what may be the purpose of a writer when he is using alliteration in his writing. Writers have used alliteration for centuries across literary forms, from poetry and drama to novels and even in children's books. And it all depends on the author's intent that alliteration may function to emphasize a certain section of text. That it is the purpose, it is the intention of the author itself, that what part he wants to highlight in a particular text, and keeping that in mind, he will use alliteration in his writing. The use of alliteration creates an aesthetic linguistic effect. The use of alliteration also evokes musical and rhythmic sounds, or sometimes even the use of alliteration makes a poem or speech easier to remember and easier to recite. So, keeping all these purposes in mind, generally writers use alliteration in their writings. One of the primary purpose of alliteration is to emphasize something important that the writer or speaker would like to highlight. Sometimes the writers use alliteration with the purpose that they want to highlight a certain area or certain part of their writing, and they would deliberately use alliteration in that writing. Certain sounds that we use in our speech can also affect a mood of the poem. Alliteration can be used by writers to give a poem a calm, smooth feeling, or sometimes a loud, harsh feeling. For example, there is a phrase, singing songs of the seaside. This phrase utilizes the S sound. The use of S sound in this phrase gives this phrase a soft and smooth sound. Whereas another phrase, keep that crazy cat out, the phrase uses the harsh sound, the hard sound, K sound. And this use of K sound gives this phrase a harsh sound and adds a threatening tone. So, keeping their objective and their aims, the writers use alliterative sounds in their writings to create a certain mood in their poems. As alliteration is such a bold and a noticeable device, it may also be used to call attention to a certain subject also. Alliteration is not only important for writers to arouse certain mood, it may also be important for writers or speakers to bring the attention of the listeners to a certain subject. Many great speech makers have used alliteration in their speeches to emphasize certain parts of their argument. In this context, there is a very famous example. We will read that. Martin Luther King Jr., in his famous speech, I Have a Dream, in this speech, he uses this line. He says, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. In this speech, through the use of these alliteration, the speaker emphasizes on the subject that racism, which is a judgment based on the color of the skin, must be replaced by equality, means the judgment based on content of character. So, with these purposes, the speakers and the writers apply alliteration in their writings or in their speeches. Alliteration is very much popular in poetry, and there are reoccurring examples of literature in literature of every language. Because the basic idea of poetry is distinct from prose on the basis of rhythms, on the basis of sounds. So when there are use of sounds, alliteration becomes important. And writers, the poets, deliberately use alliteration to emphasize on a certain point or on a certain subject or area they wish to bring the attention of the readers. For this purpose, let us study an example where an astonishing amount of alliteration has been used in a poem, the poem which is written by Edgar Allan Poe in his famous poem, The Raven. He says, deep into the darkness, peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. The poet gives here a number of words that begin with D sound and gives us an example of alliteration. The poet in this poem creates rhythm and musicality in the poem in many different ways. especially through the repetition of sounds in the beginning of words, that is alliteration. Alliteration plays a very large role in creating this rhythm, and it also helps the poet to create a certain mood. The poet in these lines repeats the D sound in deep, darkness, doubting, dreaming, dreams, dared, and again in dream. Let us read another example in literature by Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson, in her poem I Heard a Fly Buzz When I Died, let's read her lines. I heard a fly buzz when I died. The stillness in the room was like the stillness in the air between the heaves of storm. In this famous poem by Emily Dickinson, the alliteration of the combination of two letters, ST, stir sound, connects the word stillness and storm. Notice the use of the sound ST, stillness and storm. Conceptually, these two words are altogether different from one another. One is stillness, another is storm. And yet, in the context of the poem, Dickinson is referring to the calm, the peace that occurs in the middle of storms. The stillness at those times means the stillness between the storms, in the middle of the storm, is more profound than at other times, and this connection between stillness and storm is highlighted by the poetess by the use of alliteration in her poem. Let's read another example in literature where alliteration has been used. In the poem Birches, the poet Robert Frost writes, they click upon themselves as the breeze rises and turn many-colored, as the stir cracks and crazes their enamel. Soon the sun's warmth makes them shed crystal shells, shattering and avalanching on the snow crust. In this poetic piece, which is taken from Robert Frost's poem Birches, we can find several instances of CR sound. For example, in the words cracks, in crazes, crystal, and crust. And this use of alliteration is also onomatopoeic, and this combination of C and R, cr sound, also mimics the sound of ice breaking. When the ice breaks, it creates this similar sound, cr sound, and trees knocking against each other. Then also similar sound is produced. So the poet has deliberately used this combination of letters to produce a certain onomatic effect, certain alliterative effect to create a certain atmosphere. And here Frost creates the feel of a forest of birch trees, not only through images but also in the words he uses to create an oral representation of the sound of the trees that we can hear when somebody recites this poem in front of us. We may very well hear the repetition of the cr sound, and it ultimately creates an atmosphere of a forest where wind is blowing. At last, let us finish the video with an example, a famous example of alliteration in literature from the poem The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, written by S.T. Coleridge. He writes, I closed my lids and kept them close, and the bowls like pulses beat, for the sky and the sea and the sea and the sky, lay like a load on my weary eye, and the dead were at my feet. So students may very well learn and understand the use of alliteration in the lines of Samuel Taylor Coleridge's poem The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. So here we have discussed the use of alliteration in our day-to-day speeches, in our day-to-day life, and the use of alliteration in literature. Thank you.